coming home to roost. There's also the prospect that the immigration crackdown could be compounding this. So you have a lot of things going on that are leading to, when it comes to, your tomatoes and your fruits and veggies and your coffee, higher prices that are showing up right now.
Well, here's the reality also, though, Abby. When we were last together just after Liberation Day and we were calling for catastrophe and that we would be in a deep recession at this point by mid-July or certainly by August, I'm not quoting anybody that might look like Richard, but it could have been Richard, it didn't come to pass.
Okay, but Mark,
we just came out of
I'm going to pause you.
Q2 earnings season.
I want you to continue, but I will pause you there because we've had this discussion already, okay? Did Liberation Day tariffs go into effect when Trump announced them?
They did
yes
not.
or no?
They did not.
Thank you.
When you say that there was no recession, that's the end of the conversation. It didn't happen because
apples and oranges. Apples and oranges.
Well, there are tariffs in effect, are there not? The trade war is real, is it not?
The trade war is real, but not at the rates that you wish to ascribe.
Okay. So Mark, what is the rest of your point? Go ahead.
The rest of my point is that we have seen, based on Q2 earnings season, which we've just come out of, which has been nothing short of spectacular, 82% of companies beating or meeting expectations. We had a 5-year average blended earnings per share growth, the highest in 5 years. Companies are not passing along the increased prices as a result of tariffs. They just are not.
Yet.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yet
remains to be seen, doesn't it? But as of now, the numbers that we have.
So who's eating the tariff?
Who's eating the tariffs? The corporations, for the time being, are eating the tariffs.
For the time being.
Which is profits, which is 401ks, which is dividends.
Well, let's not talk about 401ks.
Right. Terry,
if we got interest rates in control, if we got the cut that we've needed for so long now, the corporate cost of capital would come down, Richard. You'd seen increased investment from corporations. You'd seen increased employment. It would offset a lot of the tariffs.
So let me have a last one. If you are the Fed and your dual mandate is price stability and full employment, you could not justify lowering rates when you have rising PPI and CPI.
Well, I also think you have to question the source. This PPI number also comes from the same folks that brought you the jobs numbers. I'm sorry. Listen,
facts are not facts
seriously.
In this world.
Seriously. Question the data.
Let's talk
about where the data comes from now.
To say that the PPI is not accurate, and then you have a president calling for Goldman Sachs to fire their economist because he doesn't like what he's saying.
Something told me that you would say that about. Something told me that you would say that about the price. Listen, it is. I wanted to say hilarious, but it's really not funny. Beyond belief that now, when the warning signs are flashing, oh my God, don't trust the numbers. And when things were stable, it was like everything's fine.
No.
But let's take it a given that maybe there are challenges with collecting this data. Let's note where some of those challenges are coming from. Inflation data threatened by government hiring freeze as tariffs loom. Doge layoffs may have compromised the accuracy of government data. Cuts to data collection may erode reliability of economic statistics, and so on and so on. I mean,
this is not a Trump effect with the data collection, Abby. We're talking about data collection for the jobs numbers, for the PPI numbers that are mailers, phone surveys.
Yes,
but
there are resource issues. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. There are resource issues that are affected by cuts.
We should have the same data.
Those resource issues have been exacerbated since the Doge cuts. Again, not an opinion. That is a fact of the reality of the situation. But even with that being said, this is the data that we have, right? And you either, care that data exists or you don't, and you just go with your gut feeling. I don't know.
Well, I would like to share a little bit of data, if I may. Do you know what the gas prices are right now compared to last month? Gas is down 2.2%. Do you know what it is compared to when Trump took office? It's down by 11%. Groceries, since Donald Trump took office, down by 0.46%. The PPI report, a lot of it is in services, but we want services to cost more if they're being done by American citizens, not by illegal immigrants. Cars, the most impacted by tariffs. Do you know how cars are doing? They're down 2.4% since April, since the tariffs took into effect. I want to make one point. When there was greedflation after the pandemic, when corporations realized they could get away with raising prices on the American consumer, I was infuriated by that. What Donald Trump has managed to do is bring in $110 billion in tariff revenue, and consumer prices are up by less than 1%. It's coming from those same greedy corporations. He has forced them to eat it. Now, Abby, you're saying they haven't passed it on yet. Okay, but can we just give him the credit now?
I think that
for having done
I think that we should just acknowledge.
Let's
just. I just want to underscore what you're saying here, which is that. And you're coming from an ideological perspective, not necessarily where Mark is coming from. But you think it is good and well that corporations eat these costs. If that's a position, I think that is fine. A lot of conservatives believe that corporations should not be put on by the government with basically taxes. Because it stifles growth.
But if you
am I wrong about that? Do conservatives not believe that when you tax corporations directly or indirectly, it stifles growth?
You're not wrong, but you're missing the other side of the equation. This is not the entirety of the president's economic plan. We have $12 trillion of investment commitment that's been made here. You have the government making direct investment for the first time in things like critical minerals, so we have the availability of the natural resources we need for to be able to manufacture, both for defense, consumer electronics. You have under the big, beautiful bill the ability to take 100% accelerated deduction on machinery and things of that nature. If you give corporations the ability to be more profitable with a more favorable business environment and interest rates that make sense, they don't have to pass the tax of the tariff along.
I want to make sure Terry gets in after you.
The problem is...
What's the problem?
No. The problem is, back to the data, the problem is that the president has questioned the integrity of the data, which he's perfectly entitled to do. Well,
but I didn't respond to me. I use data. Respond to what I said.
Well, how do I know your data's correct?
I got it from the Treasury Department.
Well, how do I know that's correct? But my point is, the correct thing to do would have been to set up a bipartisan commission to look at the data. No, you don't just fire the head of the BLS. You then appoint a stooge who's going to do the work for you, and then the entire...
Respond to my numbers. Come on.
This is a distraction. No, it's not.
You're punting. You're
with respect, I'll give you your numbers. I'll give you your numbers that things are good in those regards.
Okay.
Thank you.
Set the numbers aside for a minute. Conservatives used to believe that character counts. Character counts when it comes to the economy, too. And Donald Trump is saying, by the way, you're saying the corporations eat it. He doesn't say that. He says China pays the tariffs. He lies every single time he talks about the tariffs. You're talking sense. You're talking facts.
Thank you.
He doesn't.
That's worrying.
The other thing is that it sounds like he doesn't like the jobs numbers. They're rigged. They're fake. He doesn't like the votes that come in. It's rigged. It's fake.
I don't think he should have fired that woman.
Look, I want to play this. I know we have to go, but let's play Peter Navarro.